back to Sligo GAA Coaching and Games social channels. Be sure and follow us to stay up to date with all things Sligo GAA. Today we're delighted to be joined by Mary Finn from St Michael's to continue our Leading Ladies in Sligo GAA series. So welcome Mary, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for asking me.
So just to start off, I suppose, Mary, what's your role within the GAA out there in St Michael's?
Well, I'm from Jersey Washer to Club PRO to County Board Delegate. I'm also a member of the Markievicz Park Committee. And I suppose any jobs that have to be done seem to be thrown my way a bit.
So you're
I seem to get a good few of them.
You're a multitasker, it looks like.
Yeah.
So how did you come to get involved then, I suppose?
Well, there's no boys in our house. There was only girls. But my father was very heavily involved in GAA, and he was a founder member of the club when it was Ballantor first, and then it became St Michael's in 83, and he was treasurer of the club right up until he died in 93. So I suppose we just ended up, the Sunday outing was a football match, be it county, club. I don't think there wasn't a football pitch, I'd say, in Sligo I hadn't stood on by the age I was 12. And I could say a good few in the country I hadn't stood on either by that age. And I think just it gave me a common ground with my father. So I think that was probably why it just grew from there. But I would always have had a love for it.
Clicked from then on, I suppose. So is that why you say you do what you do, to kind of have that connection, or would it be something else entirely?
Well, it might have started that it was to have that connection, but it has gone on that I've grown my own love for it. Like, I look at it here now. My son played football, my husband played football, and I'm the only one that goes to games. So it must be genuinely that, because I loved it.
Yeah.
Even when my daughter was getting married, she was saying, I hope there's no game that day. We never get her to the wedding. That's how bad that they look at me with football. They know that I drop everything to go.
It means that much, yeah.
Yeah, and I will say that's one thing I have found with COVID. I have found no football being an awful void.
Yeah, and even when it comes back on the TV, everybody's absolutely glued to it, just there before Christmas and everything. So in terms of encouraging more women into positions in the GAA then, what do you think contributes to the gap between that, and what would you say is the best way to continue changing that?
Well, I suppose it's hard to know. I think because they're two different organisations, you have the ladies and you have the gents. It's a pity they're not under the one umbrella. I think both sides can benefit from it. The men's football can benefit a lot from some of the stuff we see in the ladies, particularly that clock, because there can be no arguments then about extra time. I think that'd be fierce beneficial for the men's games. But I think it will also involve women more. Like, you go to a ladies' football county game or club game, it's all women is at it. There's very few men. And the odd man that is there, they'll turn around and then nearly go, Jesus, that no women could play that good. They're suddenly seeing a different side of it. But you go to men's games, well, spectators, you might have a 50-50 mix, but women becoming involved in the club on the grassroots, it's very hard to get them involved. But now, because girls do not go on their own until they're in the 12-year-old age group, it's given the chance to combine the two, because on their health and safety, you have to have men and women both there with the nursery groups from under 12 down. And I think it's given a chance to see women becoming more involved in the club. I know in our own club, our ladies, even though we have a ladies club as well, our ladies are becoming cross-involved. I would have been the only lady for a long time involved in the men's section. Now we have 2 or 3. So slowly it's coming, but I think it's coming from the fact that the safeguard of having to have men and women involved at underage, where both boys and girls are there, has made a huge difference.
Yeah,
and I think it's encouraging.
Especially as you say that most of the spectators, like, it is men and women playing it and watching it. Like, why couldn't they get involved?
Equally.
From the grassroots up, yeah.
Like even at county board level, for most county board meetings, there's 2 women there, myself and the county secretary. And I think I must be 10, 15 years county board delegate, and it's been the same all along. Very few times you'll see any more than 2. I don't know whether it's women are intimidated by all the men there or what. I suppose I would have grown up in a farming background, which would have been predominantly men, so it didn't bother me to be mixing among men. Maybe some women it does, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's something that could be hopefully changed, I suppose, going into the future. Speaking on that then, would you say that's one thing you would change about the GAA, or would you pick out something else that would better the organisation?
I think for bettering the organisation, they would need to bring the 2 under the one umbrella. And I think there is things we can learn from the ladies. There's probably things as well that they can learn from the gents. The only thing I would say is the refs need to remember when they're playing ref and men's, it's not ladies football, and vice versa. You know, that it's not the 2. You'd see some of the refs, and I swear it was a ladies' game they were reffing. You know, a lad can't touch another one. But on the other hand, then you go outside the county and ladies, and there's it's an awful lot harder football for the ladies than it is within our own county.
Yeah,
you know, refs seem to be letting an awful lot more, where our local refs won't let it go at club level within the county. When our ladies go out, we say to play Connachts, refs are letting an awful lot stronger hitting or tackling go that our own refs aren't. Thus our ladies then aren't able for it when they go out.
Yeah, it's fairly circumstantial, all right. So you spoke there earlier about following in the footsteps of your dad and then kind of growing your own love for the game. For you, what is it that makes Gaelic games so special?
I love the camaraderie of it. Like, when you're involved with GAA, I think no matter what you do afterwards in life, you're going to bump into people. I said it to you the minute I seen your name. It ended up I worked with your mother. You know what I mean? You get to know people in all walks of life. You get to know people from all sides. You get a common ground. That go for an interview for a job. When you have the GAA there, somebody will ask you about what do you do within the club. You know, I think it's part of, it's giving back, but I would have got an awful lot from it. I think it gives you pride in your community. It gives you pride in your club, your county. Like, we mightn't have the strongest county in men's football anyway, but we get enough slagging about it. But it leaves us that we still have an awful pride for that crest. We all have that pride for our club crest. And I think it's that sense of pride and community, and when you go anywhere, you're representing your area.
Yeah, definitely. Some fantastic insight there, Mary, into your role and the Gaelic games in your area. It definitely does give you something to talk about no matter where you go in life. So thanks for joining us today, Mary, in the Leading Lady series, and best of luck in the future.
Thank you, Elena.